and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On to approval agenda in the minutes.
I move to approve tonight's agenda.
There's a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Second by Sean, all in favor?
Aye.
In the minutes.
I also move to approve the minutes from the November 17th meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from November 17th. Second by Sean, all in favor?
Aye.
School committee chairperson comments. I want to recognize the girls soccer team for making it to the championship. Unfortunately, they did not win, but it was still a good run. Moving on to community comments. Is there anybody in the room for community comments? Sam, anyone online?
I see no hands raised.
Right. Moving on, student comments. Buff Elementary School newspaper. Looks like you guys are all ready.
Hi, well, I'm Principal Garden, and I know last time I brought my student council members, but this time I'm so excited to have just some of our newly reformed newspaper club. And so they are going to explain to you about the whole process of the club newspaper. So.
Hi, my name is Amelia. Good evening, members of the school committee. We are fourth graders from Club School, and we're here to tell you about our brand new newspaper club. We meet once a week on Wednesday mornings before school, and our club sponsor is Miss Lewinsky. Hi, my name is Mason, and I'm going to tell you how we got into the newspaper club. And we actually had to apply. We had to write a story that was between 200 and 300 words. We could write about anything appropriate. We just had to show our best writing. Hi, I'm Juliana. Here are some examples of what we wrote about. Amelia wrote about a secret room at Clough hidden in the library. Charlie wrote about a raccoon, an armadillo, and a turtle who wanted humans to disappear. Mason wrote a ghost story. Hi, my name is Austin. And I'm telling you some other stories that we wrote together. Nora wrote about 4 girls searching for Halloween shadow. And I wrote about a pumpkin dog dino who is, believe it or not, a 4th grade student. We were all thrilled and excited when we found out we were selected. Hi, I'm Charlie. Once we joined, we learned what a newspaper actually includes. We talked about headlines, photographs, captions, interviews, and all the different jobs in a newsroom. We did an icebreaker and then started brainstorming story ideas.
Hi, my name is Nora. We got to be real news reporters. Mason and Austin interviewed our school resource officer Katie Allen. Amelia and I interviewed Principal Garden. Lana and Naomi interviewed Nurse Belafontaine and wrote about our all-school walks.
Hi, I'm Lennon, and my partner and I wrote an article about Crab Recreation Day. Some of us took photos and notes and shared them with Hadley and I so we could write the full story. Some of us even got to wear press badges when we interviewed kids and adults during Crab Recreation Day. And now, since I finished that article, I'm working on the new article about the Misco School plays. After writing, we are working on editing our final drafts on our iPads. We're putting the whole newspaper together in Canva with Miss Lewinsky helping us through the publishing process. Our newspaper is called Newsbreakers. We hope to send it to teachers, share parts of it on the morning announcements, and maybe even send it home digitally to parents and guardians.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. We are proud of the work we are doing and can't wait for everyone to read the first issue of the Newsbreakers. Do you have any questions for us?
Awesome.
Have you got any new articles, new stories in the pipeline?
Do you have any new stories you're working on?
We have
the
the Misco School plays that
Yes.
Lennon and Hadley are doing.
Yes, and we're excited to partner with Knitbuck who just launched a writing center here at Nipmuc High School. And so we've already reached out to them to collaborate with their writing, with our writing fellows and see what comes out of that collaboration.
Awesome. How do you distribute your newspaper?
Like, how are we gonna give it out? What are some ways?
We might, so Mrs. Principal Garden, she sends emails to the parents once in a while, so she might.
Just once in a while. Yes, I do, you're right.
And she might give them a link to go look at the newspaper, what we're writing
Exactly.
about,
Mhm.
or maybe we might write a paper newspaper.
The print,
Right.
right, yeah. Both versions.
What about like a comic section?
We're thinking about things like we're just starting with the basic articles and then we will.
We may or may not have had an underground
Yeah, that.
newspaper group that was like separate, that has formed their own comics. Like sometimes during indoor recess, right? Like some people are part of that group here that are here. So I think that there will be comics coming out at some point too.
Yes, there will be other sections.
How do you decide which stories are important?
Well, we brainstorm ideas. So we'll all gather around and we'll take ideas, either whether it's interviewing people or whether we're just thinking of cool ideas about things that we do. For example, we do play days, carbon creation days, and we also will do a movie day sometimes for classrooms. And when we were thinking about stories to write, we also had to think about what details were included and what we needed to add and take away, because I noticed while I was making sometimes I repeated words and it didn't make any sense. So mine actually went under the first time and then it went over. So I had to keep adjusting my story until eventually I got it right.
It's good practice. Great. Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's fantastic. With that, moving on to student reps.
All right, first off, our new academic decathlon team placed first in the state competition. They competed in categories ranging from literacy to economic. And Nipmuc won by just 6 questions from the 2,000 asked. Then also the Nipmuc Best Buddies is hosting a hat and mitten drive for the United Fair until the 13th. So if you have any hats, gloves, mittens, or anything else, please consider doing.
All right, and so on this Wednesday, Nipmuc's going to be hosting our annual Nipmuc Showcase for families grades 6 to 8. It's a great opportunity to showcase all that Nipmuc has to offer. I know we've been planning a lot with getting science experiments ready to show off our science department, business program, opening up the school store. So a lot of planning going into that. And then finally, this past Wednesday, Nipmuc had our annual FAST event, which I included some pictures of the different walls on the dock, which was shared on the NURC Instagram. So we had all the different themes. So the freshmen, they were the Smurfs, sophomores, Spider-Man, juniors were Duncan, and then the seniors were Avengers. And as always, the seniors won, and it was a great day filled with glad spirits. So yeah.
Is it always the seniors?
Always the seniors
Has there
win.
ever been a year that the?
Who's the
seniors-
judge of this?
Okay, so it's always the student council president who is always a senior. So it.
All right, I see it's rigged.
Yeah.
Yeah, our group did win last year, like points, but we didn't actually get the win.
Mm.
We had to win. So I just want to put that out.
See, right? In my previous district, the juniors won 1 year. Yes, there were a lot of tears. A lot of tears for the seniors.
Any questions for Sean and Kim? Thanks, guys. On to new business, out of state / country field trip. Galapagos. We have the best field trips.
And it should say Amazon.
That's right.
Still.
Good evening,
Did you have any questions? Do you want me to just talk about the trip or what we're planning this year? Or what's
Yeah, maybe if
different?
you just give a couple highlights of the
Quick
trip,
overview.
they do have all the materials, but just so everyone can hear at home as well.
All right, so super quick overview. So I have been leading trips to Ecuador, specifically the Amazon and Galapagos since 2019. We've taken 4 trips already to the Amazon and Galapagos. We've brought over 152 people to this amazing country. Planning ahead for next school year. I wanted to change things up a little bit. As amazing and positive as the feedback was, and it's been an incredible trip, I wanted to go a little deeper into the Amazon rainforest. So with this particular trip, we're still including some of our favorite highlights with the upper Amazon area, but now we're going to go a little bit more remote into what's called the lower Amazon. So this is going to involve an internal flight to Coca. We're actually going to drive down and take dugout canoes and boat transportation to the property. But coming home just to save time, we'll be flying from Coca back to Quito. I believe that going to this particular area of the Amazon is going to offer students more opportunities for those authentic cultural connections. It's an area very rich in biodiversity, so we're hoping to have more animal encounters and just continue to have an amazing experience like we always do. Do you have any questions for me? Can I tell you anything else about the trip that you'd like to know?
Any questions?
Oh, it's pretty cool. So that's like, yeah, right in the middle. Oh, that's really cool. That's fun. Geez, I wanna go. Hey, always.
They always need chaperones.
Yep, so some of our highlights are visiting the hot springs, which I explained to the kids today. It's actual water heated by underground thermal vents from the volcanic activity in the area. Visiting the Animal Rescue Center, which I particularly enjoy once, seeing these amazing animals, but also finding out how they came to be in the Animal Rescue Center. Unfortunately, some of their animals are poached. They're trying to sold on the black market trade. So it's in a sort of an appreciation for that and the work that they do down there to save and rescue these animals and hopefully return them to the wilds. The whitewater rafting day is a big highlight. That's tons of fun. But also the community service component. So we always try to visit a local school. The first year we went, we visited 2 schools because there was just so many of us and we had so many supplies. We do a community service project there. We donate school supplies. We have a great day with the kids. We share a meal together. Kids get out and play soccer and have fun. And the Spanish immersion kids get to practice their language skills, which is always wonderful to see. So yeah, we're looking forward to another great trip. I'm really excited to go to this remote area and just see a little bit more.
Do you have an idea of how many kids will go?
Well, according to the entire 6th grade, they're all going. So we did 2 student presentations today with the 6th and 7th grade, which I thought was hilarious because of 6, 7. And all the 6th grade decided they're going, and about half the 7th grade. This year, due to capacity, right now I have the enrollment set at 34. The properties in Quito and Upper Amazon can accommodate a much larger group. But because we're staying at the Sani Lodge in the Lower Amazon, which incidentally is the only 100% indigenous people owned and run, which is wonderful. They have a much smaller capacity. So our group is set at 34 signups. That's to allow extra spot for chaperones. Now, if this trip ends up like the first one that we did, where we had 80 people sign up in less than a week, I do have the possibility of running 2 trips at the same time. We'll start in Quito together. One group will go to start in the Upper Amazon, the other group will start in the Lower Amazon, and we'll cross in the middle. So that's if we get, a lot of signups.
Yeah, cool. Wow.
Any more questions?
Sounds like fun.
It's been a lot of fun. It's very eye-opening.
What specifically is the date? Because I've seen 2 different dates by off by a day or so.
Okay, when I first pulled the trip, it was leaving on the Thursday and coming back on the Saturday. But based on feedback, I moved it to leaving on the Friday before April vacation, so the 16th, and coming back on the 25th. Sunday.
Anything else?
Wow.
Is there a motion to approve
Make a
the,
motion to approve the field trip.
there's a motion. Want to attend it, John?
Well, I can't make a motion to attend it.
There's a motion to
Conditional
approve
approval?
the country field trip, the Amazon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
On to superintendent and administrative reports.
Yeah, thank you. Dan, do you mind pulling up my presentation? So each meeting, I'll just continue to give you some highlights. If we have had some recent updates on strategic priority progress and some of our action steps, I'll give you some quick highlights. Anytime we have a grant, I'll always notify of that. And if we have any district highlights or upcoming events to share out, that's what I have included here as well. So if you go to the next slide, we have our strategic priorities. You can keep going. There we go. Just want to give a couple highlights of some work that happened recently. One area of focus for us in our strategic priorities is to take a closer look at co-teaching. And at our last district leadership team meeting, which I hold every 2 weeks on Wednesdays, we gathered in one of our steps was to bring together all of the co-teaching resources that we've had over the course of all the years that we've collectively been in the district, because we've had numerous different trainings going back even a decade. So we're pulling all those resources together, and then what we're going to be doing is compiling them and having them be in a friendly way that we can then share it out with some of our staff, so they have those resources. Because what we've found is over the years, some people who were originally trained in co-teaching with our original training, we've had different trainings later on, and we want people to see that through line. We also started to take a look at some of the positive aspects that we're seeing with co-teaching, and some things that popped out were the strong models that all of our staff do know what the models of co-teaching are, and they have really strong relationships with their students. We still are continuing to work on specially designed instruction, and also giving more support for co-designing lessons. And in the future, I imagine we'll probably bring in some PD maybe next year. And I know it'll be in some potential budget requests for additional training in this area. The second area was counseling. This might have been in your notes that I share with all of you, but Dr. Alex convened a monthly meeting recently with the district school counselors, and they had a brief presentation by health law advocates on available services and support for families. And so one of our action steps this year is to have more, we had a couple over last year, but to have more frequent meetings with counselors. So he's been meeting that with them and has already had a couple meetings. They're working a lot on vertical articulation and different skills and development, and giving feedback on needs.
So just
Yep.
refresh my memory
Sure.
as to what vertical articulation is.
So we don't have, let's say, a set curriculum for counseling across the whole district. So you have, pockets that they work on at different levels. So over the years, we've been trying to bring our counselors together to see how we can have kind of spirals building off the curriculum. So vertically, that's when we say vertical articulation with any curriculum, that's kind of some of the work.
Okay.
But it's also around programming and services. So they can be in the same room and they can strengths or different processes that they have, and really improve some of the transitions from building to building two as part of the work. So he's been doing a nice job with that. I wish Liz were here still, just so I could say congratulations. Next slide. Keep going. Under grants, our nurse, Tara Belafontaine, wrote and received a new, it's called a Water Wise Garden Grant this year from Kids Gardening. And she is a master of applying for garden grants for the school garden, and every year receives a different garden grant. But this is awards for 1,000 in funding and irrigation supply kit valued at 500. So we're happy to receive that to continue the work that they started, I don't know, gosh, like 9 years ago with the garden at Clough. We have lots of highlights in district events. First one, Memorial hosted it was fantastic literacy night before break, and we had they anticipated, a good number, but it was close to 200 people and students that were there. It was amazing. Thank you to Leah Hagan, who led the coordination. We also had numerous volunteers, staff, and some parents, and we had a series of dogs. You can see that in there. So in the gym, you had all these students who would sign up. That was the big hit, and all around the gym were able to sit and read with the dogs. But there were lots of activities throughout, and it was a huge hit. It was awesome, and I can imagine that because of the success, that if they do it again next year, that it would probably grow as well. And then at Clough Elementary, they had a couple things coming up. They had breakfast and bingo, which they actually just were talking about, which was really successful. And you can see that's the picture on the left. So you can see the numbers of people who attended that. That was right before break. And at both elementary schools, they have monthly assemblies now. And at the November assembly at Clough, they had representatives and interviewed representatives from the Mendon food pantry, and the students' goal was to collect 433 items for the food pantry, and at that time of the assembly they had already had 517 items, so they were pretty proud of that. You heard a little reference to this, the writing center. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend this launch, which happened right before break, and then when I was in my walkthroughs again today, it just happened to be the block that they were open. I was able to go and get further information. So after talking with Melissa Kinkella, I was able to get a few more details about the Writing Center. But they were opened by, are either of you involved in this?
I'm gonna be in touch.
Okay, interesting. All right, cool. So it was opened by a group of writing fellows, and those students were recommended based on their writing leadership, collaboration, communication skills to build and operate it. They first developed the mission and values aligned to the district beliefs around learning, and this guided all their work in creating a center. And it was founded on principles of growth and collaboration. So it's really student led, and they've been going through this process of how to run the center. Some students visited the Burlington High School's Writing Center in the fall, and they hope to continue a collaborative partnership with them, possibly hosting their fellows in the spring. They had the grand opening event, which I was able to attend, where they had 9th grade English classes coming in, and what was going on here. They were introducing the fellows, were introducing like how it works, how you can get help, how you can sign up. And it's open during the school day, but also in some after school hours. And one student in class, Liam Downing, he put his coding skills to work, she said, and developed a tutor finder system that allows, this is amazing, students to download as an app on their iPads so they can swipe left or right, I think, but on tutors, and then and like you found a match, and then you can go and pick your tutors and what seems to be a match. So we're creating apps for this as well. And then they have a whole check-in system they're explaining when you come in there. So it was pretty elaborate, and they're excited. So now they're in their recruitment phase to get students to start participating with that. Any questions on that one?
Who's auditing the swipe left?
Sam.
It's only in the tutor, so, but it was pretty funny. Nipmuc History Department, if we go into the next one, this press release is coming out, so I shared the whole press release with you, but for anyone, I'm going to read through just so anyone is unaware of this, but when the Continental Congress approved the Declaration of Independence, a local printer produced about 200 copies, which were sent to states with instructions to read the document aloud and copy it by hand into town record books. So Mendon-Upton created handwritten copies that still survive today. Were you guys involved in this one? Okay, I was going to have you chime in if you were. And so on Monday, November 17th, the Social Studies Department at NIMAC welcomed the town clerks, Ellen Agro and Upton Town Clerk, Denise Smith. And they brought the town's original handwritten copies for students to examine. And it's the first time the two documents have been together in the same room for 249 years. It's part of the Social Studies Department's Revolution in Our Backyard unit. It supports the National American 250 effort, where teachers design the lesson to link national milestones to local places so students understand how major events impact their own communities. And there's a lot more details in the press release, but wanted to share is pretty neat opportunity. We had lots of in the press release, which is on our website as well. You can see the various pictures of them working. So yeah, those are great highlights. There might be two more that aren't in my background notes, but we have the NIPMUC showcase. So Sean mentioned that's coming up. So we do encourage any grades in the middle school, grades 6 through 8, to come and check out what we have to offer here at NIPMUC. And there's a list up there, some of the areas that will be highlighted, including innovation career pathways, career exploration, internships, the MyCap, authentic learning experiences that like the one I just shared, etc. And it's a collective effort where we have community members and we have a lot of students who volunteer, and it's a great event. If any of you have not attended the event, you can stop by and check it out this week. And one more slide. I noticed this and added this in as well. We have some upcoming winter music season, concert season coming up. So those are upcoming dates. And I'm sure I'm missing 1,000 other events taking place in the district. It's a busy time of year, but wanted to share a few of the highlights. So I don't know if you have any questions or anything like that. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
Right.
Good questions.
If no questions, we could move on to the building committee and capital project report.
Oh, I feel like, I'm bad. All right. So the capital project is all done. We're all complete. Everything's complete 100%.
Sarcasm. Just so we're clear.
Yeah. The carpet is new. It just looks the same. All right. So where are we now? The one big thing that happened last week was on Wednesday of last week, we had our budget reconciliation with MSBA where they approved the budget that's been submitted to them from the designers and the OPMs. The budget that was, so what I gave you for a chart here is kind of what we estimated. We estimated the job at 10,657,000. The approved budget is 10,418,630. The reimbursement, you can see there's only about a $50,000 difference. I thought that was pretty good estimating on our part to come out pretty close to that. So that's the approved budget. Now, there was one thing that was still under discussion, and that's underneath the auditorium is it's called the soffit. It's like metal, it's all peeling. We want to repaint that. They weren't sure if they would include that as part of the roofing project to be reimbursable. They were going to work on that over the next couple of weeks. Quite honestly, it's going to get painted anyway. But anyway, so that's where we are with that. As far as the rest of the project goes, this is the timetable I think I presented to you a couple of weeks ago. Nothing has really changed here. They're moving along. Things are happening. They're working on the HVAC submittal so we can get that package out as soon as we can and get the equipment on site. As far as the facilities, we had a second meeting today. We have weekly meetings with them at 1:30 on Mondays with Vertex and Habib and Associates. The one thing has changed, obviously, today's December 1st. The schematics are not done. They're still trying to gather information. They're waiting for some information from us that we're going to get to them this week. So they're still in the works and they're still working on schematics. The Beals and Thomas has been on site. I think it's in the next slide. They've been on site pretty much every day over the last week. They're continuing to survey, look at wetlands. They're working on a lot of different things. So this is the basic time frame that we're still looking at. As far as the contract with Vertex, I sent it back to them about a week ago. Jeff D'Amico got back to me a couple days ago and said he had a couple of issues with some of our lawyers' comments, so he was going to get back to me, but he hasn't done that yet, but he'll get to. He was going to do it over Thanksgiving weekend, but it didn't happen. I'm not concerned about that at all. I'm sure they're fairly minor. Beals and Thomas, like I said, have been working really hard. And then as far as activity, the only thing that's come up that's changed is I think you were made aware that there was a grant approved for Nipmuc to renovate the media center downstairs, one floor below this. Part of that is going to be taking all the furniture out of there, which means we need to replace the carpet in that room. It's better to do it while the equipment's out. This grant has to be extended by June 30th. So we're pulling that out of the submittal that will go out for flooring for the rooms, and we're going to do that separately. The criteria is as long as it's under 100,000, we need to try to solicit 3 quotes. We can get the work done. We're going to have the gentleman that does most of our carpet work give us a quote. We'll see where that lands. Try and get that done in early spring, so that room will be taken care of. They also asked that we reach out to both towns about which boards we have to reach out to. So we have to go to conservation in both towns. We may have to go to planning board, we're not sure. We may have to go to zoning, we're not sure yet. So all that's being sorted out by the design team. I mean, we'll go to everybody we have to do to get the approvals. One of the questions that came up today, Elaine, I'll ask you, or send it this way since you're over there, was would the towns be waiving the fees for all the various permits and stuff? Typically they have, but they don't always. It just depends. And I don't know, it each town. Elena can't tell us that how to do that. And other than that, we've got some challenges with wetlands here at Nipmuc, but I believe some of the things that originally look like they're wetlands, you can, in essence, relocate the wetlands, recreate them somewhere else and mitigate the issue. So I think they're still trying to analyze. That's part of what's taking so long, is trying to sort it out. And then the other thing is that we had thought we were going to do a ton of work this summer. I think it's going to get spread out a little bit further than that. There's way too much, as you start to look at this project, Maureen and I, every time we finish a meeting, we're like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. It's not all going to happen.
Exactly what I said
Right.
after today's meeting, like, wow, that's.
So it's not going to all happen in the summer. I think we're going to look at doing some rooms for carpeting, like maybe we can shut a wing down in the building and have other rooms used and do a wing at a time and do it in the fall. There's just no way to get this all done in one summer. We were talking about it today. We have summer school programs for ESY that are usually at MISCO. Can they be at MISCO this summer? Where can we put them? These are programs we have to run. So we're just trying to manage that all out and get it balanced. And I think I reviewed this last week as far as the finances. This was something that I was not aware of, but we did learn. So it's just to reiterate that we've got to keep everything separate and track it properly. That's not an issue. It's relatively easy to do. And other than that, any questions?
Do we have, so in meeting today with Vertex, did we have better understanding of more of a schedule where we can map out particular events?
We've
got the calendar. We know what that is.
They've got a better schedule that they put out from Habib and Associates, but again, it was relatively aggressive. It was what I showed you earlier.
Right.
The schedule, it's slide 4, Sam, if you want to go back to, that one there.
Yeah, that one.
That one there. This was what they put out, but again, this is very high level because there's a lot of work involved here. So the goal is obviously to get construction documents out sometime in March so that we can get things started as soon as school's out. But it's a lot of work.
So for example, a lot of the discussion today around the schematic designs, there's additional information that Habib needs to get us in order to complete and you're supposed to say SD, so the SD.
Maureen is learning all the
I
acronyms.
did, and I used some appropriately too. It was amazing.
Because in
but
education, there's no.
But for the schematic designs, so they're not done by December 1st. That's today, but they still need to get information. So one thing is flooring in both buildings. We need to go through and mark every single room and have clarification on what's going in what room and kind of market on it for them. They're putting together a list that they're going to get to us this week that has some of those follow-up specific questions that they need more information on, and then that helps to refine some of the scheduling related.
Yeah, so I mean, we reviewed this already. I just want to talk about it in front of everybody else. But the idea to get the schedule baked out, then you can start coordinating with different groups who need the space during summer or any other times. Then you can start coordinating what facilities they can and cannot use. So this is all the basis for it. So hopefully,
and this building will be shut down all summer, so there will be no use of this building.
And a couple of the members of the building committee were saying, when can I see that schedule so I can get my input? So it's critical that we come up with that schedule that's being constructed?
It will definitely be a balancing act over the next couple of years as far as facilities. We have a lot of groups that use our facilities at all 4 locations, and we're going to have to balance that out with the work that needs to get done. You know, and still try to make the facilities available. Folks need them. But this building here is going to be a construction zone next summer. Because we do have to get, like, we got to get that field project done. We got to get the roof done. And that's something that has to get, you know, we can't putting a roof like hammering shingles in while classes in session.
Yeah.
Maybe band will be rhythmic, but other than that, may not go over as well. Any other questions? Matt, you got a question? I can tell.
Yeah,
us.
the last time you were here, you were telling us how the roof project was coming in significantly under estimates. I think that it was 8 million, and then you said that there was another million or so for
The plywood
the
underneath the shingles. So your question is, how do we get to
How did you get
10.4?
to-
So it's because they put in contingency funds to cover anything that changes, change orders, and that kind of stuff. So that's a big chunk of it as well. The numbers we had initially was the construction cost for the materials. It didn't include OPM and design fees, which added a little bit to it. Mostly it's contingency that they built into it. So hopefully it'll still come in under, and the reimbursement will obviously be adjusted on what they approve when you actually submit stuff. So invoices get submitted monthly. The OPM, which is CHA for that project, will be doing that. And then they reimburse us for it. So you have to pay the bill first and get that money back from MSBA. We've done it before when we did the roof at Visco, and it's a fairly seamless project, you know, process.
I do agree. I think what's left in contingency if you're replacing all the plywood and everything in it. I mean, we already
Well, that's
we
not
went
part
full
of the,
tilt on it.
that's not part of the contingency.
No, I know the plywood, we already built that into the budget, but
Correct.
other than that,
It's
what else is left of the roof?
change orders.
So why I understand that, but
Yeah.
but we're replacing
Yes,
all of it and we budgeted for
Correct.
all of it.
it's not going to exceed this number. It's only going to be less. That's the way it goes. I mean, it's ironic that they approve a budget, but you haven't gone out to bid yet. So until you go out to bid, you don't know what it's really going to cost, right? What we're being told is that it's a good time for construction for school projects because there's not a lot of commercial work doing, there's not a lot of business work doing, and contractors are looking for work. So there's public money available, so they're going to the public projects, which is a good market for us because we should get better competitive bids. We'll find out.
Any other questions, comments?
Okay.
All right,
Thanks, update.
thanks, Jeff.
Takes me a couple seconds.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, how are you?
Well, tell you a little bit of my summer vacation. Was warm, then I went to the beach, and then I came back and played Smartboard Santa. So we delivered some smartboards. We're getting there. We replaced all the smartboards, pre-K to grade 6. We added 5 and 6 this year with smartboards. Before that, they just had projectors and sound systems in the classroom. So we were able to expand the use of those into the middle school, which we had not previously had. Get up here. See it, it's coming. So we worked with the smartboard vendor that we've been using for a while, CCS. They do all of our AV stuff. They did most of the installs of the newer smartboards that we had. We worked with them to get a configuration together that didn't cost us an arm and a leg. We also changed the mounting style. Previously, the smartboards were bolted to the wall. They were a 2-piece board. If you might remember the one we had in here, it was ultra short throw projector. We went from those to a more television style now. It's basically a big LCD panel with a touchscreen. So really a giant tablet if you think about it. Running the new versions of the smart software that we've been using for literally decades at this point. We worked with CCS to deliver those right at the beginning of the summer. Shout out to the maintenance staff. They were really helpful with us. They were able to take down the old boards and helped us with some of the actual like physical configurations of like, putting these things together. They were enormous. So if you're over at Clubber Memorial, you'll see them. They're on rolling carts. The idea being that we could move them around and be more flexible with the space in the schools now. And instead of having, bringing the kids to the front of the room to use the smart board, now you can move the smart board around in the room and have it off the side for a small group, or, as the whole group in the front, like you did traditionally. So we ended up, we used some funds left over at the end of 25 to purchase some of those. We also did the projectors at Nipmuc and at the remaining classrooms at NISCO, so 7 and 8 classrooms. They got refreshed projectors. They're brand new. They're laser versus LED. So the old ones we had were LED, LCD projector, DLP projectors, and we replaced those with laser ones. So it's nice because we won't have bulbs to buy anymore. But the downside is, you replace the entire projector if there's a problem. So it's got some ups and some downs. So we spent the summer pretty much like assembling and putting in smart boards, projectors, everything AV. We updated all the software on the Macs to be compatible with the new smart boards, because the ones we had before were from the old generation of smart boards. So we had to do some software updates. School went off without a hitch, like pretty much all the teachers adapted to them pretty quickly. We did have a few calls, a lot of just people just didn't understand the new software. We went from Smart to Smart Notebook, Smart, Suite to Lumio, which is the new product. So as we kind of, got things going in the fall here, we started talking about two-factor authentication. I talked about that in spring. We do have the software. We have it all configured. We've been having some issues with the reliability of it with the Google Suite. So we're still working through some of the kinks on that. I haven't deployed it all the way because I don't want to have a kind of like a half-broken product out there. My goal is to try to get it out before Christmas and, give everybody ample time to get used to it and see if there's any issues before break. That's my plan. We'll see how that goes. Sometimes, Google cooperates and sometimes it doesn't. So we're working with Duo to try and work those kinks out. We had it ready to go. We were going to push the button and literally something broke in it. And we didn't want to just mess it all up. So my hope is, so like, we started this back in June. We created the test users. We tried it. Everything was working. I didn't want to do a deployment over the summer because, teachers were on break. When we came back in the fall, it was just, in September, it was just a little wonky and I didn't want to mess with it. So that's where we're at now. I'm hoping to, like I said, to get it out before we leave for Christmas break. So the next week or two. And then just in general, like our help desk has been, kind of swamped with the usual back to school kinds of things, people getting used to their new Gmail if they're new, and trying to deal with some of the apps and new stuff that's come through over the summer that we've been pushing out. Ryan's been great about, meeting with staff and helping them out and getting them going. I think you work with some of the students too, with their stuff. One thing I'm going to put it out there now, so when we talk about it at budget time, the 9th gen iPads that we have are out of warranty now. So we're doing repairs on those and they're costing us some money. We are starting to see some just general failure kind of things with them. They're hitting the kind of the end of their life cycle. So we're getting dead batteries, devices that won't charge, just some wear and tear too, stuff been dropped one too many times. Not pointing you guys out. Stuff like that. It just the kind of things you would expect on devices that are going into their 4th year.
And the ones that we just got, those are under a 4-year
correct
warranty.
And so when we bought these the 9th gen ones, they were only offering a 2-year. Now they have a 4-year, which we've kind of used we dovetail that into the lease. So the lease is 4 years. The device is covered for the 4 years. That's the plan. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of really where we are. Because I just want to put a couple things up there. A lot of new users, so new user questions, things like that. Nothing overly crazy, but it's been busy, and we're doing our best with what we got for staffing, and we're just kind of moving around. All 4 buildings pretty equal on, people knocking on the door, so. I think that's it. Yep. So that's where I'm at. Questions, ideas, thoughts?
Where do you stand for staff now?
We have 2 techs, one in Upton, one in Mendon, and Sam, who's everywhere you want to be, like American Express, all 4 buildings, doing student iPad support. We have 2, Felipe and Chris Karen, do more of the infrastructure and staff repair stuff, so like Macs and, general Wi-Fi issues, things like that. We also have Liz Black, who's our data admin. She's mostly there for data, but she's been kind of tagging in, doing some help desk support, like you guys might have seen her in the help desk when you walk by. So, everybody's tagging in. I am, so is Ryan. But, always use a little more hands. Really, we have like 3 technical people and we have 4 buildings. So it's kind of whack-a-mole most days. Yeah. 1 minute we're, well, we fixed something over here, but now Memorial's not covered and we got a problem over there now. And it's like shuffling people around. We get a lot of lost time, because you have to drive between buildings and it's just, sometimes it's not the most efficient, but it's what we got. And Maureen and I have talked about it. We're trying to come up with a way to, keep it moving.
How do your users feel?
I don't know, which pull down.
Yeah, no, I've had a great experience.
Right.
Shout out Sam. Sam always.
Question for you guys then. Yeah. What, just a high level, take your best guess. What percent of students are doing BOD versus the iPads?
25%.
Bring their own device.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people do like mix matching. So like I use my own computer, but I also use the iPad a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like more people do that because like the iPad are good for like taking notes and then the computer's good for other things.
Do you ever think about that, guys, with the high school moving to laptops?
It comes out sometimes.
But I don't think it's any more expensive than an iPad anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's like $300 and the MacBook is gonna be $1,200.
Well, okay, but you go to a cap.
Yeah.
If you go buy a standard PC laptop, yeah, I do. But seriously, you're $300, $300 or $400. I mean, that's what they're using across history.
If you go Dell.
Yeah, well, then we can even do that. But yeah. Anyways, it's something to think about for the future, especially as that number increases. So you have a whole lot of iPads that are just sitting on shelves.
Yeah, I think, classroom wise, they're being used specifically in class. I mean, you're told to bring your iPad every day, right? So it's that we are using specific apps, but there's nothing on it that would really exclude us from going to another platform if we chose to, because most everything we're doing is online now.
Yeah.
Really the question becomes infrastructure wise, everything in here is tuned for Apple just because we're, pure at this point. But if we're going to mix and match, we might have to reconfigure some stuff, to handle Chrome or, Windows again.
Right. Well, 98% of the business world's on Windows. We got to prepare our kids for the business world.
Yeah.
It's true. I know it's.
But to that point also, as kids age, like a laptop, to your point, 4 years for an iPad and it's end of life. And that's gonna be true for the next gen. A laptop, you could get 6, 7, 8 years out of a laptop. It's,
Especially after.
I've still got my work laptop. Definitely get 6 out of a laptop.
It might be a little different with students.
I can show you some really good ends up.
General laptop, like a college kid's not running a Kubernetes cluster on their laptop, right? So
Maybe 6.
aside from the battery, right, and batteries replaceable, like you could get, and so kids graduating can take their laptop with them into college and still have it. An iPad for 4 years into life, it's a brick, right? It's a paperweight. So
Yeah, I think it's really what we're buying for the laptop, the quality of it, the durability of it, because these guys, acid test these things on a sort of regular basis. So
But you're talking about not being able to get 3 years out of iPads.
right.
yeah, I mean, we're getting in 3, 4 out of an iPad, which is kind of, and like the same, if we're going, 4 is where we're aiming for.
Correct, but you just presented to us that
Yeah,
the iPads that are in their 4th year of use now, or 3 years old, are failing.
Yeah, we're losing some at this point, and that's why we're going with the 4-year Apple Care on it now, so that Apple will guarantee the device for that 4th year.
There was something Izzy said before she left, so last year, She said that she had to use the iPad for some tests. I'm not really familiar with this, and that's just what she told me. So I told her, what about using a laptop? She said, no, we can't use it. So I don't know whether there's requirements for one type of device over another at different
I
times.
think she's talking about, so like for our AP classes, we have sometimes a lockdown browser and it's really hard to like figure out how to get it on the laptop where it's automatically on the iPads through
Okay.
Bluebook. So the iPads are easier to use, like when we're doing.
So there are some inherent dependencies to be built into the iPads right now.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a pretty big, not to say we can't do it, and you have really good points. And it certainly has come up. It's a pretty systemic change for some of our instruction, not in all cases, but in some of the work that we've done with some of the apps and the other work we can do with the iPads. But so it would just take also some planning with that kind of transition as well.
But
Which
it'd
to
be good
point
to
out
know-
also requires more support.
Yeah.
In that, you know, to, if we were moving all of the users, let's say in a whole building to a totally different type of platform. Just like when we came on board, there was years and years of iPad, you know, training and working with Apple and then Google and all that. So it's not impossible, but we'd have to consider that aspect beyond just the device too.
But it would be very good to understand how many kids are using their own devices, or whether or not they find more flexibility in
Yeah.
using their own equipment. That would be very useful
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, I agree.
Is it-
That
I
sounds
know
like a
some-
good,
some
like, I don't
kids are
know,
always
like
gonna need them, but-
with the school improvement council, like that'd be a good kind of survey or something to find out in order to help some of our work too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a cost benefit analysis to what it would cost in resources and support versus, you know, investment into different tech. And I love a Unix-based machine. Like that's my go-to, but you're paying for the Cadillac.
And I love my Mac.
Well, nothing you said. That's a Unix-based machine.
Yeah. All right.
Any other questions for
Other
Joe?
questions for Joe?
But is that something we can do? We can, by the end of the year?
Say again, I'm sorry.
What these guys just asked, is that something we can have a
Just getting a
presentation on?
survey or
Yes, we get a
getting
survey out.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
put like what the cost trade-offs would be.
We've had the discussion, I know Brian and I have talked about it kind of ad nauseum. You know, especially now when we're doing budgets and trying to figure out what our next moves are. Right now, we're kind of in smack in the middle of the 10th gen lease. We need to deal with something with the 9th gens. So we're gonna present something in the budget proposal for that. But that,
And where are that replacement, where are they right now? Those 9 gens?
high
High school.
high school
middle?
mostly,
Alright.
set half the middle school.
Yeah, because that's another thing too, you know. That impact.
Like a
We
7-year
don't want to
charge.
do a moving across the whole district type of change either.
The other problem is we have 2 generations of iPad floating around out there. This is worth noting, I guess, is Apple did approach us about taking all of the devices back and issuing us all the same device, which would deal with a lot of the issues around accessories. Specifically, the 10th gen does not have a audio port on it anymore, so they have a dongle to use headphones, which doesn't seem like a big thing, but when you have 30 kids in a room, you know, we're all, you know, doing stuff, they all need some kind of, you know, you guys use earbuds probably or stuff like that. The elementaries, they all have headphones because a lot of the apps they use have sound. So this would give us an opportunity to refresh everything with 4-year, four-year Apple Care and have all the same device pre-K to 12. And so that would be a useful thing. So we're gonna investigate doing that too. Well, there'll be some options. We'll give you the menu and, you know.
I think I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I think what the board is asking for is to see. So if you do a refresh of K through 8 versus K through 12, and what would it look like if you went 9 through 12? If you went to various versions of PCs.
Okay.
So if we could see that sometime this spring, that'd be a great presentation back.
Yeah, we can get that together.
Cool. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. HR and payroll.
Nice to see everyone. I'm just gonna go over the responsibilities of the department, the HR and payroll department, which consists of myself and Heather Corpy. So she, I believe it was this year, she was part-time and she moved up to a 0.8 admin assistant, so we do have her a little bit more this year. It's helpful. I'm going to do an overview of just the responsibilities of the department and new changes that we made with the employee leave plans and the programmatic responsibilities of the administration of the before and after program in the Little Learners Daycare Center. We'll take a look at the new hire trends and projects that we have coming up in the future. So we provide a lot of support to the employees. We have 419 on that number of active employees. That includes subs. We do all of the management of job postings on School Spring and the district website. Take care of the ethics compliance training, safety and risk management. I deal with Maya in regards to any workers' comp issues by providing them the information for attendance and medical information from the employees. We also do personnel records management. So employee onboarding, new hires is a big part of the responsibilities. We deal with all the offer letters, which now come out of the HR department. At one time, they were sent out by the school offices. The principal sent them out, but it's now done through human resources. We do all of the mandated background checks. So since September, we've done just over 300 Corey and SORI checks. So there's quite a few of those that come through the office. We do new hire meetings where we meet with all new employees, go over all of their hiring paperwork, benefit management. We'll sign them up for health and dental if they wish, and then all of the other retirement sign up for Worcester Regional and for MTRS. And then all new hire technology requests come through our department as well. And like I said, benefits management. So we coordinate with the new employees for the benefits that they wish. There are some optional programs that they can do besides the health and dental. We have the 403B through Lincoln Investment. They can do flexible spending through TASK. And we also have a short and long-term disability that they can sign up through Unum. I also do all of the reconciling of the monthly invoices for health and dental insurance. And then any employee questions that come along pertaining to any of the insurance. We have a lot of those. Yes. And payroll. So payroll consists probably about half of my time. So it's done on a bi-weekly basis. Most of it is annual, so I don't have to do a lot of data entry for that, but we do have hourly timesheets that still have to be processed. And I'll talk about it in a minute, but we have a new leave system that will dock pay if they're taking time and they don't have it, but sometimes that's not always the case, so I have to make adjustments to pay if someone's out on an unpaid leave. And then we do it's a process through the bank where I do the deposits and then I pay the federal and Medicare taxes and then separately do the 403B and the mass tax. And then annually we have to do the calculation for all the new health insurance premiums, and then we implement the COLA, the lane changes, and any step increases that in accordance with the contracts. And then as far as finance, all of the deposits for the district come through our department. We can do all the deposits for checks in the office, but any cash deposits have to be brought to the bank. We provide data for Medicaid, for the Medicaid report quarterly. And we do all of the 941 and payroll taxes quarterly as well. So as I mentioned, we implemented a new leave system beginning in September. So previously, all of the leave requests were done on paper, and then the admin assistants from each school entered the time into Power School. With Power School, all of the time had to be front loaded, so it didn't fall in line with the contracts because a lot of them accrue time monthly for their sick time. So with the new system, it's done through our our budget software, School ERP Pro, and it allows us to accrue time according to the contracts. It will dock pay. It'll calculate the docking if it's necessary, and it's streamlined. Like there's no paper involved. It goes through the approval process. And I haven't heard any complaints. I think it's working very well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Jay and I trained a lot of hours for that.
I mean, it was, I wish,
And the
I
setup
wish you
was-
kind of calculated how many hours, because it was
Yeah, the setup
so
was big.
much time over the summer to get it set up, but
It was worth it.
yeah, it was worth it.
It was well worth
Yeah,
it.
it's really smooth right now. So all that effort paid off.
Mhm.
Is the new school ERP Pro something that can also be used for time cards?
We tried that. It didn't, they had an issue with it though.
You can, yeah, so there's a daily time entry that they can do online, which we tried to do, it just didn't work. People were going in, putting in time, it was disappearing on them. As far as like integrating it with time clock where you punch a card, you could pay additional money to buy another system that will integrate with it.
Yeah.
We haven't gone that far. We're trying to get everybody to an annualized salary so that we don't have to do time cards. There's always going to be a few.
Sure.
But the few are manageable once you get most of them into an hourly thing. But yeah, it didn't work. We tried.
Yeah. We rolled it out with the custodians
Yeah.
for a short period, but it didn't work. So I oversee the before and after school program, the Little Learners Daycare Center. And one of the things we did with Little Learners, they weren't in line as far as the lead programs go. So we got them in line with this new program. And we guidelines for their leave plans as well. So that's something that's new this year as well. And then the next slide, so this is a look at the new hires in the last 5 years. You'll see that we had a total of 318. So these are all employees that come through the HR department as far as, the offer letters, the onboarding documents. Just to give you a little glimpse. Then the next few slides are going to show you the total number of new hires per year. You'll see we had quite a few substitutes. Heather has been doing a fantastic job with the streamlining of the substitute hiring and keeping the information for all of the sub coordinators, and she does a fantastic job with that.
So this includes this includes about half of COVID as well. So that was,
Yeah,
that was our
FY22.
big turnover was happening during that time. So it's really, wow.
Maureen, do you know if these new hire numbers are consistent with other districts?
No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely,
Now, where are you seeing the COVID stuff, Sean?
No, I mean, during,
It's just saying
during
like
COVID, we
year
had a
at a
lot of
time.
turnover.
Yeah, if you think about when I
So
came on board like the year after.
This includes the whole period up through 2026. So it covers the period that we had on.
Oh, I think it's just 24 and 25.
See, we can back up to the
Let's
next
go
one.
to the slide.
Yeah, yeah.
22, 23.
Couldn't fit them all in one slide.
Yeah.
Too small. You can kind of take a look at it. And then you can maybe go to the current one. Go one more. Where we're at.
And then coming up, we are planning, so we have an awful lot of former employee files in our back hall. So that's a project that we're going to start going through them because there's a lot of information that doesn't need to stay in there. And we might even be able to, I'm pretty sure we can pull a lot of the files that we don't need to keep any longer. So that's one of our future projects. And then again, collaborating with universities and colleges to try to form that pipeline. We did do a mailing last year. We didn't get much of a response, but we're going to try doing that again. And that's it.
Are we still doing that Blackstone Fair? Is that the one you've recruited a lot from?
I mean, we've been doing it, but the
There
last
weren't
2
many.
years, it hasn't, I don't know if it's the timing or like, look,
'Cause it was
they
really
didn't
good.
advertise. There weren't a lot of people who came through. I
Yeah.
feel like it's been dwindling, and so we're discussing, do we continue to keep trying to do that? I don't know. 1 year, years ago, is pre-COVID. we did one like hosted, like similar schools like around Hopkinton and tons of people came, but then post-COVID. And I don't know why, still advertising it, but we try. We don't participate. I mean, there are large recruiting fairs that we could sign up for. You have to pay money to go to, and it's more a little bit closer to Boston, Metro West. Like when I worked in Framingham, we went to a couple and they were like massive, but we're not going to be recruiting from too far out. It's more in the region.
We did a virtual one time.
That's right. Yeah.
When there wasn't really much.
No, we participated in a virtual one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to thank you for the breadth of stuff you do is pretty amazing.
Thank you.
So definitely thank you. And is the ERP Pro, is that like industry standard? Is that the best?
Yeah.
That's what we use
School
for our
ERP
budget
Pro is
software.
This is the biggest software that municipalities use. This is designed specifically for schools. Lots of districts are on it.
And is there opportunity to potentially automate some of the stuff? I know that has helped quite a bit, but is there more opportunity that maybe Ryan can work with and help automate some of that stuff?
I don't know what they offer.
I'd say yes, but like the learning curve just to put the lead plans in place, we did automate that, was 6 months of time that we didn't have to try and get it all set up and establish it all and then tweak it. So I think like any software, there's a million things, capabilities within that software. We probably don't utilize anywhere near enough of it, but that's always the goal. Same with budgeting.
Yeah.
There's lots of things you can do. I do all the budgeting in Excel because I'm comfortable in it, but you can do it all in the software. I just choose not to.
It's almost like we're taking the approach of when we are identifying problems or lack of efficiencies that pop up, and we're trying to figure out, because we knew the way the system was with Google Forms and the printing forms and signing off of the layers of inefficiencies of that. We knew we needed to fix it, and fortunately the system allowed us to do it. It took us a little while to kind of work through that, but there have been other areas, or even, I mean, having Heather on board, I can't even tell you the impact that she's had in supporting this department and the ability for us to move. We had HR for many years, that all these different aspects were carried by all the different admin assistants and different people in the whole office. So now we're trying as best of our ability, because it's still payroll, and I tried to say that background, it's really 2 jobs that she's doing, and payroll, number one, we need to make sure everyone's getting paid, right?
Most important.
But having Heather on board, it's allowed us with subs, that was a problem. We weren't able to get enough subs. It's helped with different advertising, with her ability to follow up, meet with them right away. I mean, they're lining up at the door in certain times of the year.
7 the other day.
Had 7 the other day. So that's really impactful. So when we identify the problems, that's where we're going first. I think that's probably why we never have gotten in the district's history to those like employee records in the past, because it's not necessarily, it's just sitting there and it's not impacting us, but we know we need to, get to that. So we're chipping away every year at some of trying to come into the modern world in some of the areas. So they're both they're a great team and do a great job. So I appreciate that.
All right.
Are we getting enough subs now?
I'm sorry?
Are we getting enough subs now? You said in the past, we haven't said we've had trouble getting subs. And I noticed that that's the substitute hiring line for this year is a lot smaller than in the past. Is that?
I think because the hiring line might be lower, but we still have a lot of subs like on the approved list that stay on the list.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anyone saying they've had an issue with subs. Not yet anyway.
Have you? I haven't.
No.
I mean, it will always kind of be a perpetual issue at times. Certainly right now we have kids that have been home or coming home or returning. So we have a lot of college students that, are signing up for like upcoming Christmas break, and they'll be here. So that's helpful those times, and we're able to process more.
Heather makes
So it's helping. I don't think it's solved at all, because when you have certain days when you have a big training or a day that lots of people are out, we're still shorthanded at certain levels sometimes.
Anything else? Oh, thank you.
All right, thank
Thanks for the
you.
work.
Thank you.
On to school committee committees. Reen's already provided a pretty detailed explanation on what was budget, I thought it was, sorry. The next scheduled budget meeting is December 11th. Review the initial budget request, and then December 15th, school committee will present the district budget. Policy subcommittee, Vicky?
I can just add something just on the budget subcommittee. So right now, all the departments are submitting their budgets to us as of today, this week, and we had our first budget meeting today. So every day this week and heading into next week, we have all that. So we'll have some of the preliminary requests for that meeting.
Jay's about to be busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
More busy.
It's been really slow.
Policy subcommittee. Vicky?
Yep, so we talked at the last few meetings about the competency determination policy that's due to be submitted to the state by December 30th. So we have tonight, we're looking for a vote on IKF graduation requirements and IKE competency determination.
All right.
I move to approve the two policies, IKF and IKFE, related to graduation requirements and competency.
There's a motion to approve policies IKF and IKFE. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Negotiations are negotiations. Superintendent eval Carrie is out, so we'll skip that. No update on capital planning because we're on the building. Other matters not anticipated by the committee, none. Future agenda items, district budget development, innovation, career pathways, and departmental budget presentations. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 8:13. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. 8:13 Nipmuc time.